Continuing with stomach 21, beam gait, Liang men. So the Liang beam is almost identical to the character for Liang millet. So when the tree radical in beam is replaced with the rice grain radical, then we get millet, which is the grain that's associated with the sweet flavor of the earth. And beam is also a reference to the rectus abdominis muscle. So this is a wonderful point at the level of CV12. So apparently it's going to have a lot of shared functions and regulatory actions as CV12. So this is said to tonify the middle jiao, which means it tonifies and strengthens the functions as related to qi of the organs of the middle jiao, especially in regards to the stomach and spleen officials. This is well known to be good for epigastric pain, for accumulations of food in the abdomen, as well as palpable masses, or even rebellious qi, which shows up as nausea, acid reflux, regurgitation, even vomiting. So rebellious qi, as you remember, can also go in the proper direction, but in the wrong way, with the wrong amount of force. So this can show up as diarrhea. So this is a nice point really to warm and regulate the proper flow of qi through the stomach channel and proper functioning of the zangfu organs in the middle jiao. So this is a point that I often combine with CV12, especially when a patient is experiencing really any kind of digestive upset, either from physical or lifestyle causes, as well as mental level causes. Some people can really worry themselves sick, or fear can become predominant. And perhaps in some psychological way, the insulting cycle where water is backing up and insulting the earth. So fear, shock, extreme fright can upset the digestion, can create a lot of stagnation in the middle jiao as the diaphragm begins to tighten up. That also stagnates the liver qi, which also affects our mood and the smooth flow of qi and blood. So it makes it harder to experience the smooth flow of emotions and thoughts. This is a nice point for people who, may be physically eating well, but their mind, like many other points that we've talked about, is so stuck in a certain thought pattern, in a certain way of thinking, that leads them into some kind of reaction or upset. So this is a nice point to support the mental level aspects of a person as well. People get too caught up with worry, spinning thoughts, obsessions concerning the ability to manage their obligations, maybe feeling unable to help others that they love, maybe even unable to see the part of themselves that deserves nourishment, that deserves comfort, that deserves a good bounty. So this is a fantastic point really for any kind of digestive upset that revolves around stagnation. Sometimes it shows up where people have too little or too much stomach acid, leading to a lot of nausea or ulcers and things like that. So this is a really nice nourishing point for someone. So stomach 20, supporting fullness. This is a phenomenal point for descending rebellious lung and stomach qi when somebody is kind of over full, and that over fullness can be anything on the body, mind, spirit level. It's at the same level as CV13, which I think is even more than stomach 12, one of the best points for acid reflux, regurgitation, nausea, or excessive fullness after eating, especially if it occurs relatively soon after eating, like within like the first 15 to 30 minutes. That's a great point to moxa. And this is also, along with stomach 21 and all the points along the middle jiao, along the stomach channel, it's a nice point or nice series of points for the patient to massage after eating, or massage the first moment they wake up, they're still lying in bed, or maybe while they're in the shower or taking a bath, hot bath. So these are really nice points to massage, especially in the morning, especially during the stomach time. Stomach 19, not at ease, bu rong. This is a really wonderful point. Also, like many of the points along the stomach channel, I would palpate to see if there's any kind of assure response from the patient, or something that feels not quite right or healthy under my fingers compared to what I feel in the neighborhood. This is level with CV14. So this is a nice point to combine with CV14 as well as points perhaps on the heart or pericardium channel. So when someone's dealing with some kind of issue that affects their heart, that is, affects their emotions, that affects their ability to experience tender feelings, this is a wonderful point to use in support of that, no matter what the CF, no matter what pattern of disharmony you're treating. So anything that's affecting the Shen, the ability to settle, ability to be present, ability to radiate one's natural, authentic, loving nature, maybe that interferes with their ability to experience compassion. So this is a nice point combination to do for people with compassion fatigue. Caregivers who give and give and give and give, and then they end up getting a little bit burnt out, and they're not willing or unable to really receive any more information or sob stories or pleas for help and support from others, because they themselves feel very empty or very cold or overfull, really. They've just had enough. They've given as much as they can, and they have a hard time processing other people's issues, other people's emotional experiences, other people's problems. So this is a really nice point combination to do for people like that. CV14, stomach 19, not at ease, also called not contained. Our ability to contain our experiences or the experiences of others has reached its capacity, and now it's creating digestive upset. They're psychologically overfull. Maybe they're psychologically nauseous. So this is a nice point for people like that. And that may spill over into the physical realm, where they've begun to lose their appetite, maybe physically lose their appetite. So this begets sort of an imbalanced cycle where they lose their appetite, so they don't get much to eat, or they don't eat at the right time, and then they become weakened, and then they become qi deficient, and then that creates more stagnation and a greater sense of overfullness. So that begets itself. So this is a nice point to break that cycle. Regarding stomach 18, 17, 16, again, I would do these for very similar reasons. I would distinguish them by virtue of palpation. They all have a lot to do with how the lung and the stomach work together to promote the qi creation cycle that empowers the breath, that empowers digestion. So all of these points are really good for those issues. Unbinding the chest, helping conditions that show up with wheezing, shortness of breath, tension or tightness in the area, right, in the upper gastric area. These are all good points to do for those. Stomach 15 and 14, interestingly enough, have the additional benefit of being motor points for the pectoralis major and pectoralis minor, respectively. Stomach 15 is nice to needle obliquely into the muscle, like into the pectoralis muscle, needling it obliquely, either medially or laterally at a moderate depth. Again, just being careful. If you go slowly and pay very close attention to what you're doing, you're not going to pierce the pleura and affect someone's lungs. If you go slowly, pay very close attention, right? Constantly watching, the patient's face, looking down. Also, alternatively, at your hand, looking at how deep you're going in. If you do it very slowly, you might start to feel a subtle vesiculation in the muscle. And this is nice to alleviate any tension that comes from either stress or worry, or maybe muscle memory from the past, that somebody is consistently going through life with a very tight chest, very sunken chest, perhaps like they feel very retreated in life. Again, cold affects the lungs. It also affects the stomach. It stagnates things. It weakens the lung qi. So this is really nice to add that physical support and that boost to create the space in the upper chest for the person to take deeper breaths, and then they can receive more of the pure qi of the air. They can relax more. That settles the Shen. Then the stomach qi can descend as nature intended. So these are really nice for upper gastric issues and also issues where the stomach qi and the lung qi are not working to create enough qi systemically for the person. And that can show up as a lot of respiratory problems. Stomach 13, Qi door, really phenomenal point. Also, again, for, you see the blending of the lung qi and the stomach qi up here. Because again, the qi that rises up from the stomach, especially the turbid aspects of the qi, goes to support the wei qi, and then the refined qi of digestion mixes with the chest qi to create a qi in blood that supports the functionings of the upper burner. So this can show up as tender and very painful upon palpation when there's a lot of problems going on with the lungs, wheezing, coughing, asthma, even hiccups. Again, that's another type of rebellious lung qi. Coughing, hiccups are both a way lung qi shows up as rebellious or counterflow. This is a nice point to do for rib pain or the inability to turn the head as the muscles where the neck meets the torso begin to tighten, they're constricted, right? It's, again, not as strong as stomach 14 and 15 in this regard, but can be very helpful. So palpate it and see how it feels. This is a nice point to combine with stomach 12 to relax the sternocleidomastoid muscle and other muscles of the throat and the chest to help them relax so we can express ourselves better. We can take a nice deep breath in. And, obviously, if you can breathe deeply and take a nice satisfactory deep breath, that helps us to relax. And that settles the shen. Again, the lungs working together with the heart to create some greater sense of ease and settling and satisfaction and fulfillment with the moment, right? That's what comes from the influence of the heart, to be spontaneously present to what's actually happening now and not in the past and the future. So this helps them to open, take a deep breath, let go of any tension they're holding here. And what I found is that most of the time people they're not even aware of the tension that they're holding in this area, right? All right, so stomach 12, broken bowl, very important point on all levels of the body, mind, and spirit, right? This name may also refer to the physical basin in which it's located, right? Right here in just above the clavicle, in the fossa there. This really relates to our ability to receive and to contain, enjoy all of the benefits of what nourishes us. So sometimes the patient may perceive as if, they're really not getting the goods the way everyone else is or to the degree that they should. So, kind of imagine, having a bowl of rice and that's what's containing what, you get to nourish you. But there's a crack in the bottom of the bowl and all the rice is spilling through and you're not getting all of the goods that you need. So sometimes we even feel like we're the broken bowl, that there's something wrong with us, that there's something broken inside of us in our ability to experience compassion for others, that we're not worthy of receiving the goods, that we're not worthy of receiving the fruits of our labors, that really we need to, atone for our past mistakes by just giving and being good. And that unfortunately leads to a sense of emptiness and barrenness. So this is a really nice point to help people who are also in the state of almost like a collapse because they just haven't been able to receive enough in life, both physically, maybe they're not able to assimilate the nourishments that they get from what they eat and drink, or mentally, intellectually, they live in a context or like through work or school or some aspect of their family life that is very unfulfilling and just leaves a bitter taste in their mouth. I think this is sort of like putting the baby back to the breast of the mother, really to receive that pure nourishment, to receive that pure love in a maternal way. This is a nice point to combine with CV8 as well as stomach 25. And if they're very qi deficient, to combine with the AEPs of both the spleen and the stomach. So this is a really remarkably beautiful point. This also deals with where it meets with the divergent channel. So when you're releasing chronic latent pathogenic factors held in the body, mind, spirit, this can be a part of a divergent meridian treatment to bring something else out of the body, mind, spirit system that's been held in latency. So it could be some physical toxin. It could be some external pathogenic factor over time that's become latent and lodged into the system, especially into the internal organs. I also think a little bit about the divergent meridian's relationship to the yuan qi. So this could be inherited digestive problems, you know, just like my mom, or just like my aunt, or like my uncle, or my grandfather had this, or my father had this, or my brother has this. So this is nice to move that out of the ancestral lineage, as well as on the mind and spirit level, you know, conditioned ways of thinking, conditioned ways of being, which lead us to experience uh, dissatisfaction, and a lack of nourishment. You know, things that maybe aren't stimulating for us on a mental level, right? Our intellect isn't stimulated, our spirit isn't inspired. Nothing really whets our spiritual appetite for life, as it were. So this is a really wonderful point to support with that. Um, its alternative name, celestial cover, may also refer to the point's impact on helping to drain the lymph system, to create a little bit more purity and clarity in the lung, right, which is the canopy of the Zhang Fu, and therefore it's helpful in respiratory problems involving dampness and damp heat.